the membership operators and the identity operators. So these are the two operators remaining. So let's get to know about these membership operators. There are two types of membership operators in Python. One is in and not in. Okay, membership operators test for the presence of a variable value in a sequence data types. For example, string, list, tuple, etc. So the membership operators in Python are in and not in. In and not in. So let's let's know what is in and how it is used. Let's know a simple example for this. A is equal to hello, B is equal to 25. List data type. List data type is equal to 42. So we need to check like whether a in list data type. Of course, the value of a variable a was hello. We are checking that whether this variable, whether this value hello exists in this list data type. Hello, of course, and hence it was printed as true. Similar with and also check with not in. A not in list data type. False, because we have the value of a exists in list data type and hence the result should be true. But we also check that by using not in operator whether a not in list data type. No, of course a exists and hence the result was false. And the last operator and the last operator section in Python was identity operators. So what are the identity operators exist in Python? They are is, comma, is not. So these are the two identity operators that exist in Python as a membership operators. So let's see each an example for this. Apart from that, what is identity operators? Identity operators are used to compare memory locations of two variables or two objects. As we know, everything is an object in Python. So let's declare two variables. A is equal to 10, B is equal to 9. And let's check with the first operator is. Let's check whether X is Y. X is B. I'm sorry, it's B. X is B. We have created two variables X and B, and we are checking that whether the memory location of X is same as the memory location of B. Whether 9 is, whether 10 is 9, it should be false. Of course, 10 is not 9. And next go with is not operator. X is not B. Of course, the value should be true because 10 is not 9. True. So this is all about identity operators. So we came to know about different operators in this tutorial like identity operators, membership operators, logical operators, bitwise, assignment, comparison, arithmetic operators. So this is all about operators in Python. We have also learned one example with each one of them. I hope this helped with some of your learning process.
Welcome to the Python tutorial. Today we are going to talk about loop control statement in Python. So, loop control statements are a break statement and a continue statement. So, what is a break statement? Break statement simply used to terminate the loop, or we can say that it's simply used to break the loop. And after that, it will go to the next line or next statement. So this is all about a break statement. So now let us understand a break statement through a simple program. Here I opened a Python shell and now I'm using a for loop to understand a break statement. Here string is a simple character. So now I initially print a simple for loop. Now here we get the result from S to Z, which is a simple for loop result. Now what happened when I put a break statement is inside this for loop body? For that I'll use if condition. So here you can see this is a if condition for break statement and this is a else condition. So now after the else condition I'll put a second statement which is a hello. It will simply print a hello. So now if variable equal to I, which means that when a variable goes to the position of I inside this character, it will simply break the loop and goes to the next line, or we can say that next statement, which is this statement. So now I run this program. Now you can see what happened. So here you can see it will simply break the loop after the R character, which means that when a variable goes to the I position, it will simply break the loop and goes to the next line, which is a hello. So now I'll change the character inside this variable. I'll put k. So now here you can see there is no k inside this string character, so it will simply print the else condition because the if condition is not satisfied. So it will simply print the else condition, and else condition is simply a string. After that it will simply print the next statement. So now I'll again execute this program. So now here you can see there is no break inside this result, so it will simply print value from S to Z. After that it will print the second line. So this is all about a break statement. So now what is a continue statement? Continue statement is simply used to skip the loop and goes to the next iteration. Here I say it will goes to the next iteration, not in the next line. So it will simply skip the loop and goes to the next iteration. So this is all about a continuous statement. Now let us understand through a simple example. Here I again open a Python shell, and now I'm again using a for loop to understand a continuous statement. Here again a string is a character. I'm again initially print the simple for loop. Here we get the result from S to Z, which is a simple for loop result. Now what happened when I put a continuous statement inside this for loop? For that I'll use the if condition. So here you can see if a variable goes to the position of I inside this string, it will simply skip the loop, or we can say that it will simply skip the character and goes to the next iteration, which is n, and after that which is a g. So this is a continue inside this for loop, and I'll again put a second statement after the continue loop, which is a hello. Now I'll execute this program. So here we can get the result. Here you can see there is no I inside this result, which means that I is skipped, and after that it will goes to the n and g. When the loop is completed, it will goes to the next line. So this is all about a continuous statement.
Hi everyone. Now let's have a look at Python's if, elif and else statements. Here I have created a new file statements.py in the same location. In this, you will learn to create decisions in a Python program using if, elif and else statements. Decision making is required when we want to execute a code only if a certain condition is satisfied. The if, elif and else statements are used in Python for decision making. This is the syntax for if, elif and else conditions. Here, the program evaluates the test expression and will execute statements only if the test expression is true. Otherwise, it will check for the test expression of elif. Elif means the short form of else if. And if the test expression is true, body of elif is get executed, and if not, the control will go to the else statement. And the else statement is the last one, and if the condition is met, then the body of else will be get executed. And we have the flowchart of the if, elif and else statements over here. As we see in the syntax itself, the test expression of if is get executed if after testing whether the test expression is true, the body of if will be get executed, and if it is not true, then the test expression of elif is evaluated and check for whether it is true or false. And if it is true, body of elif is get executed, and if not, the body of else is get executed. And it will be more clear when we do a program. So let's go to the Sublime Text and let num equals 3. And the first statement, it is the if statement. If num greater than 0, this is the test expression. Enter. This if condition's body is identified by the indentation. Here the indentation starts, and we have a print expression here. Print num is positive, and the if body is terminated while it sees a non-indented block. So here we have the else if, that is our elif condition over here. Elif num equal to 0. Enter. Print num is 0. Here you might have noticed why we using double equal to over here. The single equal notation will assign a value to a variable, but the double equal sign is used to compare the value. So the last one, else. Here we can have no expression, else. Print num is negative. So that's it. So just go to the terminal and clear the screen. Then go to the Python statements.py and click enter. Num is positive. Since we given the 3 positive integer, it is printed as num is positive. And if we change this to a -3, then save it and go to the terminal again, then run the code again, then num is negative. And the flow of program is like this. The -3 is get assigned to the number num, and the if condition checks whether the num is greater than 0 or not, and it's not greater than 0, sorry. So it will not print num is positive, and elif condition is not also get satisfied. So the else condition is get satisfied, and thus it prints num is negative. That's how the if, elif and else statements work in Python. And we can have the same code like this here. If num greater than or equal to 0, if num equal to 0, this if is inside this if. So it is nested if else condition. And num is greater than or equal to 0. So let's change this to 3 again and save it. So now the condition is, if condition is true, it is greater than 0. And now it will check for if num equal to 0. Then it will print 0. And if else, then it will print it is a positive number. Since we are using Python 2.7, we don't need these brackets. That's one of the difference between Python 2.7 and Python 2.3. So let's run this code again, then go to the terminal and run again, then it is positive number. That's the if, elif and else statements in Python. That's all for now. Keep watching. Thank you.
Hi there folks. Today we'll learn if statements in Python. Basically, if statements has the ability to verify conditions based on which the behavior of the program or code will be altered. So this was the syntax of if statement. If expression do something. Based on the resultant value of this expression, I mean whether it was true or false, Python will continue to execute the next statement, which was nothing but do something or whatever the code was here. Alright, let's see an example on the interpreter. Declare a variable and assign a value to it. Alright, let's apply this if statement on the above declared variable. Python initially executed this expression, whether hello exists in the string variable. In turn, what is string variable? String variable has a value of hello world in it, and hence Python has checked whether hello exists in this hello world. If it exists, Python executed the next statement, I mean the next line of code, which was nothing but print hooray. So that's what about using if statements on particular string in Python. Let's apply this if statement on a list data type. Alright, now apply this if statement on the declared list variable. Awesome. So Python initially has executed this expression and it has checked whether string hello exists in the list variable, which has the two items in it, hello or wall. And if that exists, Python has gone to execute the next statement, which was print yes. And hence the result was yes, that which was the intended result for us. All right, let's check with another example. All right, now execute this if statement or apply this if statement on the above dict variable. There you go, you have the output. So this is the process of using if statements in Python. Alright, thanks guys. Hi there folks. In this video tutorial, I'll take you through loops in Python, for loop in Python. So what actually is looping? Looping is nothing but the mechanism of iterating through sequence data types, which are nothing but string, list, tuple, and dict. So what is the need of looping? Looping is required to repeat an execution of a block of code a certain number of times. I'll try to give an example for each and every sequence data type. For example, string, list, tuple, dict. Before that, this was the syntax of for loop. So what does it mean was Python applies looping on each and every item of sequence type and assigns that particular item to this variable called I, and we are going to print that variable I. Alright, let's open the Python interpreter and try to give an example for each and every data type. Alright, I'm into Python interpreter. I'll give example with two data types. One is string data type and one is list data type. Initially, we'll start with string data type. Alright, now I want to print each and every character of this string variable. So initially we have declared a variable called string variable and assigned a value string to this variable. Let's print each and every character by using for loop in Python. For. We have to give indentation of 4 spaces in Python. Right. So this was the intended output of printing each and every character separately by using the for loop. Let's apply the same logic, the same for loop on the list data type. Right. We have initialized a variable called list variable and assigned a data type of list with 2 items in it and which has a length of 2 items in it. If we print list variable, All right. Oops, we forgot the comma in that. Now let's print again. There you go. So we have two items in this list. Let's apply the for loop on this particular list variable. Now the intended output should be hello and world should be printed separately as there are two items independently in the list. Alright, there you go. So this is all about applying for loop on different data types in Python. To repeat this for loop with another function called range in Python. Range is nothing but the built-in Python function which is used to create a list of numbers by the predefined number you will give in that function. Let's see an example for that. Let's print a to see what are the elements in that particular variable a. All right, so it has created numbers from 0 to 9 with this built-in function. Let's print that each and every variable, each and every number independently. There you go. So this is all about applying for loops or a description of for loop in Python. Thanks guys. We'll try to look into another topic in our next video. Thanks very much.
Hi everyone, now let's have a look at while loops in Python. A while loop statement in Python programming language repeatedly executes a target statement as long as a given condition is true. And the syntax of while loop is like this. While, then the expression, then statements. And you might be wondering, what is this pass? Pass is a statement which do nothing. So if we want to declare a function or we want to write a loop, and if we want to do nothing, then we can just use this pass like here. And now I will get rid of this because I just want to do something in this loop, and so that here the statement may be a single statement or a block of statements, and the expression or the condition may be any expression, and true is any non-zero value. The loop iterates while the condition is true, and when the condition becomes false, the program control passes to the line immediately following the loop. Now let's have a look at the flow diagram of while loop. This is the flow diagram of while loop, and here we will check for the expression here, and if it is true, then the conditional code will get executed, and after that we will check for the result, and if the condition is again true, then conditional code will be executed, and this will continue to do until the condition here becomes false. And if the condition is false, the program flow will go to the very next line of code. Here the key point of the while loop is that the loop might not ever run, and when the condition is tested and the result is false, the loop body will be skipped and the first statement after the while loop will be executed. So that the while loop is also called as entry control loop. That is, if the condition here is false at the beginning itself, then the program flow will not get into the loop. And likewise we have an exit control loop also, that is called do while loop, and about do while loop we will be discussing in the upcoming videos. So now let's have a look at an example. So for that I will get rid of this codes, and I want to declare a variable count equals 0. Then I just want to loop through it with an expression count less than 5. Then I just want to print the count, and after that I just want to show that the while loop is get exited, and for that I also want to print a string which is just like goodbye or something like that. And I just want to get rid of this pass here, and I will just save this, and let's go to the terminal and run this program by typing python fileio.py. What's happening? Oh, I just forgot to increment, that's why it's happening. And it is an infinite loop, since the count is equal to 0 and the while count is less than 5, then it will always print the count. And in order to get out of the loop, just Control and C, and it shows keyboard interrupted. Just go to the code and add something like count equals count plus 1. Then it will show the actual result like this: 0 up to 4, and whenever the count equals 5, the condition becomes false, and this will get out of this loop, and the program control will go to the next line and it will print goodbye. And in the first case we had an infinite loop, because the condition inside this while loop is always true, like I won or something like that. So any non-zero value inside this while can make an infinite loop. So that's all about while loops in Python. So keep watching. Thank you.
Hi everyone, in this we are going to do an assignment which will incorporate the for loop, range function, and also if-else statement. So in this example, we are illustrating the combination of an else statement with a for statement that searches for prime number from 10 to 20. So let's do that together. And in order to do that, first of all, we have to iterate between 10 to 20. For that, let's create a for loop for num in range (10 to 20). And to iterate on the factors of the number, let's create another for loop for I in range 2 to num, the number. Then to determine the first factor, let's do num modulo division I, and let's check that by assigning the result to 0 in if condition. If num modulo division I equal to 0, then In order to calculate the second factor, let's do j equals num divided by I, and let's print all the three values in fashion like print, then %d equals %d again into %d at the end, percentage, then in braces num comma I comma j, and this %d is get replaced by num, which is an integer, that's why this %d, and this %d is get replaced by this I into %d again, which is replaced by this j, and after that a break statement to move to the next number, and then an else statement, which is not the else of this if here, else just print num comma is prime number. So that's it. Let's save it and go to the terminal in order to see the result. So I am in the downloads directory where the file IO resides, and to run python file io.py. Here it will print in this fashion. Sorry, I am just getting rid of this another terminal window. Now let's look at this. 10 equals to 2 into 5. Then 11 is a prime number. 12 equals to 2 into 6. 13 is a prime number, and so on up to 19. But it doesn't take this 20, since this range will take only values from 10 to 20 minus 1, which is 19. So that's all about range function, for loop, and keep watching. Thank you.
Welcome to the Python tutorial. Today we are going to talk about number in Python. Number is a inbuilt data type in Python which is used to store a numeric value, which means that number are always used to store a integer value, not a string values. So this is all about numbers in Python. Now let us understand through a simple example. Here I opened a Python shell, and now I'm going to execute some example of number. Here you can say I assigned a numeric value in a variable a. Now when I execute this, here we get the result 18, which means that the variable a is stored a numeric value. So this is an example of number. And now, as we know that Python support 4 different numeric type, which is a integer, long integer, float, and a complex. So you already know integer and long integer. I'm going to explain you float and complex. Now for float, a equal to 17.6. Here this is a float value. Now when I execute this, here we get the result 17.6, which means that the variable a stored a float value. Now for complex values, a equal to 12 plus 45z, which means that 12 is a real part and 45 is a imaginary part. Now again while execute this, we get a complex value, which means that it automatically stored a new value which is a complex value. So this is all about a Python number. Now I'm going to explain you some method which is used in number. Now the first method is absolute method, which is ABS method. Now for that I'll simply execute the absolute method when I create a variable and giving the value minus 12, which is a negative value. Now when I print this value with absolute method, which is ABS and A, so here we get a absolute value which is a positive integer value. So this is all about the absolute value. The next method is a ceiling method, which is denoted by CEIL. These functions are not accessible directly, so we need to import a module called a math module. Now initially I'm going to import a module which is math module. So now here I'm going to execute a program. After that I'll explain you what is a ceil method. So now initially I'm giving a value 12.23, and now I'm going to print this value using a math module. Here I called a math module. So here we get the result 13, which means that ceil methods are always store the smallest integer value which is greater than the reference value. So which is the smallest integer value greater than the reference value? I think 13 is the smallest integer value after the 12.323. It will not give you the float value, it will always give you the integer value. Or we can say that ceil are used to store a next step value. So whatever value you had given 12.242398 anything, it will simply give you the next integer value. So this is a 13 is the next integer value. So now this is all about a ceil method. The next method is a floor method. Floor method is just similar to the ceil method. So initially we have to import a module math. Here I'm going to execute a program. After that I'll explain you. A equal to 12.23, and now I'm going to call this method. So here we get the result 12. So which means that floor are used to return the largest integer value less than the reference value. So which is the largest integer value which is not greater than this reference value? So I think 12 is the largest integer value. Or we can say that floor are used to get a previous integer value as the reference value. So the previous integer value, then the reference value is the 12. So if you put 13.34, 14.4, we will get the previous integer value which is 13 or a 14. So this is all about a floor method. The next method is a exponential method. Exponential method is just similar to the math exponential method. So these methods are not accessible directly, so we need to import a math module. Here I imported a math module, and now I'm going to simply print a exponential value of 2. So here we get the result 7.38. So this is all about a exponential method. The next method is a maximum method denoted by MAX. So for that we don't need to import a math module, we can access directly. So A equal to max 12, 45 and 2. Here we print a value A. So here we get the result 45. So 45 is maximum inside this list of item. So this is all about a max method. The next method is a min method, or we can say that minimum method. For that, a equal to min, and again you going the same variable. Here I'm going to print a value a. So here we get the minimum value, which is 2. So this is all about a min method. The next method is a power method. The power method is just similar to the math method, which means that 2 to the power 3, 2 to the power 4, whatever we will give the power, it will simply give the result. For that, I am going to simply execute the power method. So first we have to import a math module, because these methods are not accessible directly. And now I'm going to print a value POW, and now 2 comma 3. Here 3 is the power of this reference value. So here we get the result 8, which means that 2 to the power 3 is a 8, which is 2 to the power 3 is a 8. So this is all about a power method. The next method is a square root method. A square root method is just similar to the math square root. So for that, we have to first import a module math, and now I'm directly going to print a square root value math.sqrt 100. So we get the result 10. So square root of 100 is simply a 10. So this is all about a square root method. The next method is a mod f method. Mod f method is used to get a integer value apart and a float value apart, which means that we will get the separate value of integer and a float. So now firstly I'm going to import a module math, and now I'm going to execute a program. After that I'll explain you. Mod f, I'm giving a value 12.90. so we get the result here. This is the float part of this reference value, which is 12.90, and this is the integer part, which is a 12. So what mod f does, it will separate the integer value and a float value in different parts. So this is all about a mod f method. The last method is a log method. Log method will return a natural logarithmic value or a base value. So for that we have to import a module math, and now I'm going to simply execute a log 10 value math.log, and here 10, and the base is also 10. Here 10 is the base. So here we get the result 1. So we know that log 10 is a 1. So this is all about a number in Python. Welcome to the Python tutorial. Today we are going to talk about string in Python. String is a set of character, or we can say that string is a collection of character represented in a single quote or a double quote. So now let us understand through a simple example. Here I opened a Python shell, and now I'm going to execute some example. After that I'll explain you. Firstly I'll represented the string in double quote. So here we get the result, which is a string value. So now again I'm going to give the same value in single quote. So we get the same value as we get in the previous value. So this is all about a string. Now I'm going to explain you some method which are used in a string. So the first method is a capitalize method. Capitalize method will return the same string, but the only difference is that it will return a capital as a first character. So firstly I'll execute this method. So firstly we have to create a string. For that, hello world. and now I'm going to call the capitalize method a dot capitalize. So here we get the result hello world, but we can see the difference between this hello world and this hello world. Here the H is capital and the inside this hello the H is small. Capitalize method always give you the first character in capital. So this is all about a capitalize method. The second method is a count method. Count method is used to count a character inside the collection of characters. For that, I'm going to give the value HELLO hello, HELLO the same value, and again I'm going to print the value a dot count count, and which value you have to count. Here I'm giving E. So here we get the result 2, which means that E is 2 inside this whole string. Here E is once and the second E is here. So this is all about a count method. Count method will simply count the character. The next method is a find method. Find method is used to find the index position of character. So now execute this program and assigning a value which is a Python string, and I'm going to find a T character inside the Python string. So a dot find, and I'm giving the character T. So here we get the result 2. So T character is in the index position of 2. So P is in 0, Y is in 1, and T is in 2. So the find character will give you the index position of the character. The next method is a alphanumeric method. The alphanumeric method will return either true or false if your string contains alphanumeric values or not. So for that, I'm creating variable and assigning a string which is hello. After that, I'm going to give some digit. After that, again I'm going to write hello, and now I'm going to print the alphanumeric values, so which is a dot isalphanum. So here we get the result true, which means that our string contains the alphabetics as well as digit value, or we can say integer value. So this is all about a alphanumeric value. The next method is a isAlpha method. The isAlpha method will return you either true or false if your string contains the alphabets or not. So for that, I'm going to assign a alphabetic value which is hello, and now I'm going to print this condition a dot is alpha is alpha. So here we get the value true. So if I'm going to give the hello with 1 2 3 integer value, it will simply give you the false, because this string also contains a integer value. So this is all about a isAlpha method. The next method is a digit method. Digit method will give you either true or false depend upon your string contains some character or some digit. So for that, I'm going to initially give a string here 233 for digit, and now I'm going to print the condition a dot is digit. So here we get the true result because our string contains only a digit value. So this is all about a digit method. The next method is a length method. Length method will give you the length of character string. Here is the string, and now I'm going to print the length of character len and a. So here we get the result 13. So here we count 1 2 3, 4, 5, 6, and the white space is 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 13. So this is all about a length character. The next method is a lower method. Lower method will give you the lower value if you give some random characters. So if I'm going to give some value which is stri hello world, here W is capital and all characters are small. If to print the hello world a dot lower, so here we get the result, all the characters in the small letter, even the W is also a small letter. So this is all about a lower method. The next method is a uppercase method. Uppercase method will give you the larger character, which means that it will give you the capital value. So if give the same hello world string and print the value with upper, so here we get the result, all the character in the capital form. So this is all about a uppercase method. The next method is a swap case method. Swap case method is used to swap the string, which means that if we give the small character, it will simply swap into the capital character, or if you give the capital character, it will convert it into the small character. So for that, here I'm going to give the capital character hello world, and now I'm going to execute this print, and now a dot swa swap case. So here we get all the character in small letter. So if we give the value in small letter, and I'm going to print this a dot swap case, here we get the all the character in capital form. So this is all about a swap case method. The next method is a max method. Max method will return you the maximum string character inside the collection of character, or we can say that string. So for that, a equal to hello world. Now I'm going to execute the max character max and a. So here we get the result, W is the largest character inside this string. So this is all about a max max length, or we can say that max method. The next method is a min method. Min method is used to get a minimum character value inside a string. So for that, I'm going to give some string value which is Python, and now I'm going to print the minimum value which is min a. So here we get the result h. So h is the minimum character inside this string. So this is all about a min method. The last method is a replace method. Replace method will simply replace the character. So initially created a string named Python. Now I'm going to replace the Python. So for that, e dot replace, I'm going to replace the character p with j. So the p is the oldest character value and the j is the new value. So here we get the result which is a Jython, which means that p is replaced by j. Here we can say p is replaced by j. So this is all about a string in Python. I'm going to explain you some built-in function or method inside the list. First method is a max method. Max method will simply return you the item which have maximum value inside the list of items. So here I created a list and assigning some value. Here we have some items, and now I'm going to print the maximum value of this inside the item. So for that you have to use max method and put a variable a. So here we get the result 83, because 83 is the largest integer value inside this list of items. The next method is append method. Append means adding some item inside the existing list. So for that I initially created a list and assigning some item, and now I'm going to append some string value. So here I called append method, and now I'm going to write hello inside this method, and now I'm going to print the updating list, so which is a. So here we get the result. As you can see, this hello is adding inside this list. So this is all about a append method.